Okay, Sabi, share your experience sa pag-take mo ng UPCAT. Sa ano mo yung sasabi mo?
It was so. Di naman masyadong mahirap pa sa amin yung exam, and it's not like super dawi naman when. One of the experiences, I guess, was one of the things that really made it quite the experience was probably that there were like 5 air cons inside that room. It was unbelievably cold, and even though I was wearing a jacket, at the end of the exam, you could hear my teeth chattering. That's
Wow,
no joke
lamig.
because it was really so cold. And the person next to me, he would have snacks like every time he finished the exam. And of course, I would also finish my exam like 4 or 2 minutes before the timer, because I always make sure that I review and I answered everything. And then he would chew like very loudly. He would open like he bought chocolate, if I remember correctly. He bought chocolate as his snacks. And then when he opened it, it was like so loud. And I was like, okay, he just opened it, it's fine now. And then he started chewing loudly. And it was, oh my, and I was like thinking, oh my gosh, I can't concentrate so good right now. I'm trying to concentrate. And then while I'm trying to concentrate, I could hear him chewing. And it's so annoying. And it didn't help that it was so cold. And I could barely feel my fingers anymore. That was how cold it was. That I started shaking my hand every 5 questions because I could not feel my hands anymore. And then actually before the exam began, I did a small prayer first, of course. But during the exam, I guess I was surprised that there were not much Filipino questions in math and science as I expected, because that was really the challenge for me while doing my mock exams and practicing. I was always afraid about the science if it wasn't Tagalog because I have so much trouble in the Filipino language. I was worried that I won't be able to translate some words, but there wasn't as much as I expected. And then yeah, there were no breaks. And then if you needed to go to the bathroom, you had to leave your paper like with the proctor. But I never needed to go to the bathroom naman before, or only after because I drank water like almost close to the almost close to the end of the reading comprehension exam, because I had some snacks. But that was it mostly for my experience. There wasn't really anything that stuck out. There weren't any questions where I thought I was gonna give up namang, or no, not really. I felt like taking the UPCAT, it felt like I was just taking the mock exams I have here at home or at online. It felt natural. And I wasn't really as pressured with the timer, but yeah, you would actually get shocked by how fast it is. But yeah, that's it.
So, mga ilang kayo dun sa loob ng room?
Well, the teacher said, the piling of the papers and making sure everything was there would take longer because they were used to 30 students only in one classroom. So I'm guessing like more than 30 students, probably like 50 around there.
O kasi di ba dun sa permit, walang naka-assign na room number.
Yeah, there's no.
Kaya parang nakalagay lang dun sa physics, ano nga to, testing hall.
Yes.
Kaya sabi namin, paano malalaman kung saan kayo pupuntang room? So, ano yun, alphabetical or
No, just by line.
by line?
Yes.
So, kunwari, ito 30, doon kayo sa room na to. Itong 30, doon kayo sa room na to.
Yeah,
Ganun.
something like that.
So, papipilahin lang kayo. Then, kapag nakapagbuo na ng 30, next room na.
Yes.
Ah.
Also, before everyone entered, they would gather all the left-handed people because they would go in first, because there's like a separate, there's like a whole row or section, I guess, that's just for left-handed.
Wow, okay. So, talagang meron din silang para sa mga left-handed, no?
Yes.
Na consider din nila yon. And then, so, after ng exam, paano naman yung, yung feeling nyo ng mga test taker after the exam?
I don't know if it was a little concerning, but everyone else was super quiet. And they were super tired after the exam. But for me, I was very happy na tawag. I was very happy. You could tell because even right after I left the venue and I was waiting, all I did was take a bunch of selfies. And I wasn't really tired like everyone else who seemed to have taken the exam. They all looked pretty tired, but for me, I was just I was happy. I felt content. Because I felt like I did my best. I gave it my all. I reviewed. I even went to review centers. I took mock exams online. And then up until the day before, I was reviewing constantly. And on the day before, I was relaxing na talaga.
And
I was
then,
just listening to tips from old UPCAT takers. So, yeah, maybe that's why I felt like very content about how I did in the exam.
so parang na lang, parang nabigay mo ng lahat. So,
Yeah.
talagang na lang, trust the process and
But if it's meant to be, it will be naman.
yeah, no. So, waiting time is
Probably almost 1 year or 6 months pa yan. So,
so wala namang nasabi sa inyo kung mga what month o
there's
nalalabas.
no releasing of results yet. But they did inform us that the application process is still not over. So probably around September, they're gonna ask us again, if I'm correct, that they'll ask for our grades so that it will be
Pero nung pala, ito na, nung during the exam, so kamusta naman ang mga proctor? Anong ginagawa nila? Nag-iikot-ikot ba talaga sila? Tinitingnan ba nila yung
there
mga...
was one factor that kept going around. And then, since I was very vigilant with my time, I would always tend to look at the board because they would show if it's like 20 minutes left naman. Because they didn't show us the time until it was 20 minutes left, and then
Anong show? Sinusulat sa board?
no,
or...
there's a paper that's on the board,
Mm-mm.
and then it's taped and it's covered, and then they would like pull down 20 minutes lang, and then if you pull it down again, it's 18, 16 until
May
2 minutes,
countdown.
and then that's it. I don't know. The two factors, they were always have fun, and then they were always talking to each other. I don't know. I kind of noticed that because I kept looking at the time. I was worried that maybe I'm spending too much time on this question and I have to move on. But otherwise, none naman. And if there's a factor going around and you drop something, they're more likely to pick it up for you so that you won't be bothered during the exam.
Talaga. So, talagang... Pero hindi naman sila talaga yung parang feeling mo nakaka-pressure, nakakatakot,
No.
na parang...
To be honest, sometimes I forget there's a proctor. I was really just focusing on finishing the exam and giving it my all. And then I would only realize that the proctors are still there if I looked up and maybe I checked around the time, or I felt like a little cold, and then I would tend to twist my neck this side because that's where the aircon is facing. And I'd be bothered by that. But that's where the proctor usually is. They're at the topmost.
So, yung mga
Because-
gamit nyo.
Oh, our stuff was in the front of the room. They weren't really kept near us. Our phones were supposed to be turned off. And then they made us bring our snacks out. And our pencils and maybe the sharpener and eraser and the permission slip. That's it. That was always on our table. Yeah.
Tapos,
Also, this is a random advice if anyone is going to be taking the exam in the physics building, because I really believe that it was way too cold in there. It really highlighted my experience that it was a very, very cold exam. It was very, very cold when I took that exam because there was no seating arrangement also. So we weren't gonna go in by line. You would think that if you were going in by line, there would be the first people who came in would be in the first row and second row and such. But no, when it was my turn to go in, since I waited muna because it was so hot and I didn't want to fall in line in the hot sun. So I waited in there. So I was one of the last people to go inside. So when I entered, I noticed that there were a lot of seats in the front row that were open pa. And I thought, oh, so there's no seating arrangement. And I didn't want to sit too close to the proctor and pressure myself. But I didn't also want to sit so close to the aircon and probably not be able to focus. So I sat in the middle row. But it was still super cold. You could tell because the people behind me at the very back, they really looked like they were struggling with the cold because they were always adjusting their jackets. I felt bad for them, and also I felt lucky for myself. Yeah, that's it. I hope you guys bring a very thick jacket when you take the UPCAT.
Okay, so now we are manifesting
Yes.
na soon to be
From root to maroon.
So that's all. Thank you for watching. Bye.